Who are some badasses in history that school didn't teach you about? King Sejong of ancient Korea was so tired of the Chinese style writing, so he said "duck this" and devised an entirely new form of writing that led to the modern Korean Hangul. Not the badass you all were probably thinking of, but the man was a genius for this. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill, also went by Jack Churchill, fighting Jack Churchill and Mad Jack. This wondrous British officer carried around a long bow and arrow and a Scottish longsword during WW2. To top that all off, he also had some bagpipes. Gotta go with the Berserker of Stamford Bridge. A giant Norse axeman who apparently slaughtered about 40 English soldiers and held up their entire army himself, and was only killed when one soldier snuck under the bridge and impaled him, presumably in the groin. Joe Medicine Crow was the last Native American to complete all 4 tasks required to become a war chief: touching an enemy without killing him, counting coup, taking an enemy's weapon, leading a successful war party, and stealing an enemy's horse. He did this during WW2. He died about 4 years ago, age 102. Tommy Fitzpatrick. In 1956 he stole a small plane from New Jersey for a bet, and then landed it perfectly on the narrow street in front of the bar he had been drinking at in Manhattan. 2 years later, he did it again after someone didn't believe he had done it the first time. What's also crazy is that the punishment for the first time ended up being only a $100 fine, since the charges were dropped by the owner of the plane, and the second resulted in only 6 months in jail. I seen an article not too long ago about an American soldier infiltrated a German concentration camp and saved thousands of Jews. He almost got away with no witnesses, but a German officer found him and aimed a lugger at the back of his head. The American soldier then spit out a badass one-liner along the lines of, "Kill me and you'll have to kill the rest of these people." The German instantly dropped the lugger and just left the scene. Vasily Zaitsev. He was a WW2nd Russian sniper with deadly accuracy. Between the 10th of November 1942 and the 17th of December 1942, during the Battle of Stalingrad, he killed 225 enemy soldiers, including 11 snipers. Many of his tactics are used by snipers today. There are a few snipers. The White Feather comes to mind, can't remember his name, but anyway, was called the White Feather cause he wore a white feather on his helmet as a calling card, and way to even the odds he inched his way through the Vietnam jungles to kill a signal high rank officer. This took I think a week, could be more, moved so slowly even the wildlife didn't detect him. There's a video of him on Simply History on YouTube. Great channel as it has all the answers for your question. Comment. Carlos Hathcock is who you're thinking of. Annie Oakley aka Little Miss Sure Shot. She was a sharpshooter between 1860 and 1920. Absolute big D asterisk CK energy. She learned to hunt at a young age to provide for her family. At 15 she won a shooting contest against a guy she later married. They joined the Buffalo Bill show. She could shoot a cigar out of his mouth and was the most earning artist in the entire show, even more than Buffalo Bill himself. She was all about female self-defense. She wrote a letter to President William McKinley on April 5, 1898, offering the government the services of a company of 50 lady sharpshooters who would provide their own arms and ammunition should the US go to war with Spain. She even offered to teach the army how to shoot. Not a fan of gun use, but this girl is amazing. Michael Malloy. He was an Irish alcoholic who frequented a bar. 3 friends including the bar's owner decided to take out 2 life insurance policies on him. First, they let him drink as much alcohol as he wanted, without him having to pay. After that failed, they gave him methanol. That plan also failed. Then they gave him a sardine sandwich, soaked in methanol, and filled with nails, if I remember right. Michael asks for another sandwich, after eating the first one. Then they decided to dump him in the freezing cold and pour water on top of him. After that plan failed, they just ran him over with their taxi. He came back a few days later, and the men decided to wait until Michael fell unconscious. After that, they took him upstairs, put a gas pipe in his mouth, and wrapped a towel around his head. This was the last attempt on his life and was successful. They were then arrested for attempted fraud and murder. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more Reddit goodness.